Lumiwarden Diting, the turn 2 bruiser unit that makes your team practically unkillable, or the turn 1 CC unit that makes Aya a thing of the past. Let's get into it. So what makes him so strong is this skill right here, right? Mostly just the torpor, right? It's a 2-hit with a 50% base chance at level 4. I think it's 35% if you don't have it leveled. And what this does, what torpor does, is it makes the enemies unable to gain turn meter plus. So anybody who's on Reaper Steps or Strive, they get hit by this, and then they're not able to gain turn meter, right? So the Aya won't cut you, the Sylph won't cut you. Anybody who's on Gigabyte, unless they've forced Bulwark, right? 3 Bulwark modules. Anyone on Gigabyte won't cut you. And being the turn 1 player, your units should all be faster. And so your whole team will get to do their combo without anyone cutting, which is really, really strong, right? So basically, as for his speed tuning, he needs to be faster than your buff strips so that he can apply torpor before any of your other debuffs. As for the build, for CC, he just needs to be fast, right? Some defense is nice. Super fast, triple effect accuracy, right? You need as much as you can get, right? For the shell, it's got to be Dark Moon. Insight, that gives you another 100 and ideally 160 if you've max rolled this on that first turn, right? As well as your effect accuracy. It helps to have P2, but it's not necessary. I got really lucky. I got 3 copies of him in like 70 pulls, and so I went for the 4th to get the extra lattice. But this is not necessary, right? It does make him a little bit better. Try and get effect accuracy in your substats if you can. And on this build, right, I've got him 398 effect accuracy on the first turn, and that lets him almost always have 100% more effect accuracy than any effect res character will ever have effect resistance, which means this 50% base chance doubles to 100, right? There's always going to be the 10% chance that your debuffs miss, right? So the highest you ever can get is 90%, unless it's something like Lilium's skill 2, where it says it's guaranteed, right? It doesn't say whatever percent chance, it says guaranteed to inflict the stun, right? I think Lowen's skill 3 is also the same, right? It's guaranteed to apply exaltation, right? But unless it says it's guaranteed, the highest it can go is 90%. As for the skill priority, I tested him a lot on day 1. He works at 111, but every lattice you put into him makes him better and more versatile. I would say if you're just using him for CC anti-Aya, if you can get him fast enough without this speed, you don't need to level his skill 1. So you could probably have him 114, right? I think 114 is the minimum investment for him to be consistent, right? If you're running him on Dark Moon, having this reduced skill cooldown is really nice, so I would go 115. And then if you don't have the speed without his skill 1, of course you would go 414. Having this 125 base speed helps a lot with that, right? I think this is probably the main reason why he's such a versatile unit in turn 1 and turn 2, is because they actually gave him good base speed. If this was like 118, I don't think he would be a turn 1 unit the way he is. Eventually, you want him 555, because this 2-turn stun is actually really useful, right? If you don't manage to land your CC on like the enemy Sylph, but you do land this 2-turn stun, she's basically just out of the game. As for the team, right, just typical CC team, you bring your buff strip, you bring your Nahor, but with Diting specifically, Mio becomes really, really good. Like their synergy is super strong, right? He's got the speed down on the enemies, so they take less turns. Mio has the speed up for your team, so you take more turns, right? You're able to lap them with your CC. The torpor making them unable to gain turn meter, plus Mio pushing their turn meter back. Sanctolin making you take less damage, so that you can Mio S3 on the first turn, and if you get counterattacked, it doesn't just kill you. right? Really strong synergy. These two, like if you're picking Diting and you have a Mio built, you should pretty much always, maybe not always, but pretty much always have her on the same team, right? Especially because she also has this wound, right? Wound, really strong. For Mio, I would recommend 5-5-5, but I don't have the lattices for that. Maybe 4-5-5, but having this 25% to freeze and then 100 effect accuracy, doubling it to 50, like her S1 will actually freeze fairly consistently, right? It's really nice to have. Yeah, having these shorter cooldowns is really, really good. With the turn 1 playstyle, it's pretty simple, right? Just make him fast, faster than your buff strips, as much effect accuracy as you can get so that he's always, ideally, 100% effect accuracy higher than whatever your enemy's effect res is going to be on their effect res units, at least on turn 1, right? With these buffs on turn 1, so that he can consistently land these debuffs on his skill 3, right? Because if he misses Torpor on the Aya and she pushes up, and then she cleanses Torpor off the other teammates, and then pushes them all up, like, you just lose. I found on this build, he does very consistently land the Torpor and the speed down on the whole team, as long as they aren't, as long as they don't have immunity. But right, because it's a 2-hit with 50% base chance, and you've got at least 100 effect accuracy more than they do. He works really, really well, specifically at countering Reaper steps, right? So if they pick somebody with Reaper steps, if you've been having a lot of trouble with Aya, right, consider just building a really fast Diting and locking him on 3 every game, and you shouldn't struggle with that anymore, and you can pre-ban the Doki instead. So let's get into the games.
あなたたちを傷つけさせない耳を澄まして。あなたたちへの贈り物だよ。見てな。あれこの手しまった。油断した。俺がラブレッドは私がみんなを守る。
So that's that. If your Messiah is pre-banned or they're drafting a team that's particularly difficult to cleave anyway, and you just want to pivot CC instead, and you don't want to have to deal with Aya, it's really nice to have this guy built and ready to go. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and until next time.